Robert over here.
Sorry.
Could you talk two things? Could you talk a little bit? What was your last scene? What was your last moment of being Edward Cullen? And also, what's been your strangest fan encounter besides the Olympic Stadium?
What was my last scene?
I think you said it was on the beach.
Yeah.
And how did you feel when you wrapped Thank You Forever?
I mean, it was hilarious considering we've spent the entire series filming in the most miserable conditions, and then we end on the beach in the Caribbean for like 2 days in the sea. Uh, yeah, but it was fun. I mean, we literally did the last shot as the sun was coming up in Saint Thomas in the Virgin Islands. Uh, so that was kind of, yeah, it was a nice way to end it, but because they were considering shooting it in the sea in Vancouver, so like, which would not have worked at all. Um, and so, what was the other question?
Were you sad to let him go?
Yeah, it was very, very strange. It was kind of because we were still kind of frustrated. I was still the same frustration with trying to play it like the entire way through. I mean, right up until the last shot. It's a strange part because you on one hand have a lot of the audience project their idea of Edward onto him without it doesn't matter what he is. It's like they want him to be a certain way, and then my kind of instincts to try and play it is to try and find the fallibility in him and the weaknesses, and so it's kind of you're trying to play both these things at the same time, and it becomes very strange. I mean, you kind of because you're trying to play someone who's seen by a lot of people as being like this perfect thing, but what is that? I mean, it doesn't really mean anything. And so you're trying to play an archetype on one hand and then a character on the other. And so I kind of felt insanely frustrated right up until the last shot, and then it ended. So yeah.
Robert, looking back, whether this is a physical thing or an emotional thing, what was the most difficult thing to leave behind about the Edward character, and what was the best thing to leave behind? You were glad to leave behind.
I think there's a thing just in general about doing any kind of series, especially when the characters remain the same. Just that you can go back and try and improve whatever you did in the last movie, which never happens. Just kind of that tone and that work ethic is nice. It's quite you feel quite strangely secure, and I mean it's the opposite of how you're supposed to feel doing a movie. You're supposed to feel totally foreign every single time, but kind of going back for another go at it is kind of it's good on one hand, and it is also bad on another hand because your ideas dry up sometimes, and also you get lazy sometimes because you're around the same people. And so that was the good thing about having different directors. So you kind of had to stay a little bit on your toes. What's the worst thing? Just like playing a part where you can't get hurt and you can't die, because there's no framework to it's kind of the possibilities. There's too many possibilities if you can't die. There's always if you're playing a normal human being, there's always that. Like, yeah, I think that's probably it.
Hi, Rob.
Hey.
This franchise has obviously opened a lot of doors for you. So how do you see that impacting your career 10, 15 years down the road?
I don't know. I mean, it's you kind of. I mean, people asking me if I'm afraid of getting typecast and stuff, but it's like it's you can't be afraid of it. I mean, it's really not up to you. I mean, I'm getting other parts that aren't vampires or whatever. So, I mean, I don't know if people will, accept me in them or whatever. I mean, but there's really nothing to be afraid of. But yeah, in 15 years, I have no idea. I mean, I don't know how people will remember this series at all. I mean, it's crazy how intense people are the fan base is still 5 years on. So I'm I don't know how long it's going to last for. It'd be insane if there was still the same tenacity in 15 years.